So thank you very much. We've got the longest titled webinar I've presented for some time, sending the right message to the right person at the right time. It's all about data workflow is our angle on it, if you've not spotted the immediate Spotler angle there straight away. And we have Kate Barrett with me. I've known Kate for 4 years now, I think, personally, and then she's known she's known Lee, our CEO, since Jesus was young. So we're
making me old there, Richard.
No, oh no, good stuff. Well, it's all right. We'll cut that out of the recording. It's fine. So yeah, we trust Kate very much that we know exactly what she's talking about. She's very kindly given an hour of her time to come be insulted by me and share some of her wisdom about how email nurture workflows work. So usual housekeeping bits and bobs. Kate's content is about 45 minutes today. Wanted to quickly talk a little bit about Spotler because there'll be some of you that are new to it. I know from seeing the registrations that Kate's brought some of her audience that might not know us terribly well. And indeed, we've come a long way in the last 6 months, year or so. There's been new companies come on board. The branding's got a lot slicker. A lot of old entities that were kind of on the edge of the Venn diagram of the group are now fully Spotler. They're fully branded. They're fully integrated and part of the group. And that's still coming on. So what we're building towards is this wonderful phrase, omni-channel engagement, where you can take your email, your SMS, your WhatsApps, your social channels, your website activity, pull that all in one place through one platform and bring it in. So if someone comes to you from a particular LinkedIn paid advert, you can send them different content to someone that's just explored your blog on the website, and your emails and your automated emails that we're going to talk about can actually reflect that. And that is a continuous journey for Spotler or SpotlerUK as the company, and for the entire group, which is now 6-7 countries. I'm frankly losing track, but we're growing at a rate of knots, adding really cool tech, great people into the organization. And this is the whole suite. So we have the customer data platform that sits at the center. That's kind of a step up from a CRM. It's a smart CRM, I suppose, if you want a quick way around it. A CRM that can, rather than you having to import stuff from your LinkedIn, from your emails, from your SMS, it already knows that stuff. It's all plugged in and connected. It's super clever. So you can feed into these automated things that we're talking about. We've also added a platform that's purely for transactional email. That's that really important stuff. Those, order confirmations, receipts, contract renewals, all that stuff that's not marketing, but it's delivered through email, but it's business critical. So we've used a different platform, a different set of domains. There's all sorts of things that we need to put in place to make sure that whatever people think of your marketing, the important stuff can come through, and it separates them out. And yeah, that's the Spotler angle. Some of you know Kate, some of you she's brand new to, but I'm going to hand you over to her for about 45 minutes. As I said, drop the questions in, and Kate, it's all yours. The floor is yours.
Fantastic. So let me just get my screen up. Now we've done our switch. Can you see that, Rich?
Yes, I can. I've got your slide.
Fantastic. It doesn't show me on my bit, so I'm just going to keep going, but tell me if the slides aren't there. So thank you for that, Rich. It's always a pleasure to come on and have a little bit of banter with you. So it's really brilliant. Absolutely. It's good to be here today, and it's really great to be able to talk to all of you fantastic people about email marketing, about automated campaigns, and as Rich has just said, it's really thinking, how can we get that omni-channel connected view so that we can really provide that value to our audience going forward, and that's how we get engagement. So as Rich said, my name is Kate Barrett. I'm the founder of eFocus Marketing, and we're a specialist email marketing agency helping brands to use the channel more intelligently. Over the last 10 years, we've worked with a whole range of brands, from small entrepreneurs just getting started all the way through to big name brands, including Adidas, Nissan, QVC, Ordnance Survey, Ann Summers, Ted Baker, lots of amazing brands, and really helping them to understand where can they add that value to their audience. I'm also the author of the best-selling book, Intelligence, Email Marketing Isn't Dead, The Way You're Using It Is. And surprisingly, that book is all about adding value, understanding your audience. So it's the perfect accompaniment to everything we're going to be talking about today. So what are we talking about today? We are going to bring us all on the same page and look at the opportunity that automated campaigns bring for your business. What can they do for us? Why are we even thinking about automating? You're probably so busy sending those BAU campaigns every day, trying to think about planning, building, testing automated campaigns to put in place is probably a lot to cope with, particularly if you're a little bit resources short within your business. But the opportunity, the gold in email marketing is through these types of automated campaigns. So we'll explore that opportunity. And then we're also going to look at the 5 stages of the customer journey. So this is really where you're going to be focusing on helping the customer, adding value, helping them move to the next stage. What do they need? What do they want? How can we identify that through our data? So I'll talk you through those 5 key stages, and I'll also talk you through how you can be helpful, how you can add value to your subscribers at each stage. And I'm going to give you lots and lots of both B2B and B2C examples. So we're looking at, for both here, the way that we really bring our subscribers around that cycle. So let's start at the very beginning. What is that opportunity? Why is it so good to be sending these automated campaigns? Well, generally, there are about 4 billion, that's a massive number, 4 billion daily email users. People logging into their emails, checking their emails every single day. And that number is expected to climb to 4.6 billion by 2025. So the adoption, the uptake of people using email and the need to use email for a lot of different elements of your online life certainly isn't slowing down. And with that, more than 306 billion emails are sent and received each day. Now, that's a lot of emails coming into inboxes around the world. So what we really need to do as marketers is think, how can we stand out? How can we understand, help, and add value to our subscribers? And as you can see from the report from HubSpot on the screen there, the most effective strategies for email campaigns are segmenting your subscribers, talking to them personally, personalizing those messages, and then automating those campaigns, sending the right message to the right person at the right time and driving that engagement. Now for B2B and B2C, this is an opportunity for both of you to really understand your audience. But from a B2C side, just a couple of little stats to get us started. 34% of consumers who clicked on an automated email go on to purchase. Now that's compared to 7% of standard campaign clickers. So 7% compared to 34%. You're hitting right message, right person, right time, which builds that engagement and drives people through with that relevancy to a much higher click rate. And 87% of B2C marketers leverage automation as part of their email strategy. Now, I would say that probably that 87% of B2C marketers, maybe you're just sending a single welcome email. Maybe you're sending a single abandoned basket email. Now, that's still automation, but there's a lot more we can do. There's a lot more we can add to it, and there are much better results that we can get you. So if you're at the start of your automation journey, just think there is so much opportunity of what you can add. And if you've already got a lot of automation set up in your business, there is always the opportunity to optimize, add to, change, and improve what's already sending to your audience. Now for B2B, it's no different. So B2B marketers using marketing automation increase their sales pipeline contribution by an average of 10%. What would 10% more in your sales pipeline mean for the business? I know that could mean a massive amount for a lot of different companies. And 59% of B2B marketers cite email as their top channel for revenue generation. You've really got to understand, though, what your audience needs in order to deliver that right message. Because by using marketing automation, you're going to get multiple different benefits from that. First and foremost, number one at the top of that chart there, being improved targeting of messages. Again, you'll hear me say this a lot today. Right message, right person, right time. So that increased targeting. And of course, we know that when we target our messages better in that way, we're much more likely to get that positive engagement, the opens, the clicks, and more importantly, the conversions on the other side, because opens don't mean anything. Clicks, yeah, great, shows us some of the engagement in the email, but what happens afterwards? What is it that you want your audience to do? That's what we've got to be focusing on as our end KPI. So improved customer experience, if I move down this list here, better quality of leads, getting more leads, improved efficiency or ROI in marketing, higher conversions, cost efficiencies, so many benefits of doing it. So why aren't more people? Why aren't more people going, right, I'm going to focus on this marketing automation? And there are a lot of reasons why. It's not easy. You've got perhaps BAU campaigns that are taking up your resources during the day with your teams. That makes it hard to move outside of that and think about that wider strategy, what you want to do, how you want to segment your audience outside of your standard BAU campaigns, what you need to do. But also having data in the right place, for example, can be a major challenge to identifying the customers at those different stages of the life cycle that we'll talk about in just a moment. Now, at the top of this chart, we can see lack of expertise or know-how is certainly a top reason. You know, certainly from what I'm seeing with customers and clients that are coming to us at the moment is it's a lot of more junior teams, perhaps led by one more senior person. It's only so much that more senior person can do. And we've got to help these younger people coming into our industry to understand the benefits, the right way of doing these marketing automations, how they can look at this and think, what does my audience need? And that's some of the inspiration hopefully we'll give you today as well. So that lack of expertise and know-how is definitely a major challenge with getting these types of automations off the ground. But what I would say is, even if that is you and you find yourself in that position, start with one email. Start with one welcome email. Start with one abandoned basket email. That's better than nothing, and that's fantastic. And then you can add and test and optimize and tweak as you go forward with that. So if I come down now to looking at the third point down on those challenges, that lack of marketing automation strategy. Now, I would link this generally to a lot of companies potentially not knowing what their email strategy is. So in the weeds with, oh, we've got to get these emails sent out today. We've got to make this revenue, but not actually taking that time to step back and understand, where do you want to go with your emails? Where do you want to go with those campaigns, your strategy? And then where do we need to focus to get you there? And that's a lot of what we work with our clients on as well, is that real understanding of where are we focusing? What is our priority? And then exactly what do we need to do to get there? So helping with not only that strategy, but that know-how as well. So it is hard getting these automated campaigns from the planning to the building to the implementation, testing and optimization going forward. It is difficult. And one of the major reasons for that is definitely data. If you don't have the data within your platform, you are going to really struggle to segment, personalize and automate those campaigns. If you have disparate data that is in silos around your business that isn't being brought together, perhaps across the different marketing channels, as Rich was mentioning in the introduction there, you're not going to know what they're doing over here to be able to change your message over here. So we really need to be thinking about our data, connecting it together, and the Spotler platform is a fantastic way to do that. Get everything all in one place so that you can really understand what your customers need and where they are in that customer life cycle. So let me talk you through, and you've probably seen this before, or a variation of this before, but let me talk you through the 5 main stages of the customer life cycle. Effectively that funnel, taking them from not knowing about you down to that point of conversion. But I like to break it down like this. So we start on the left-hand side in your acquisition stage. So this is a lot of your acquisition marketing, outreach to the audience who don't necessarily know who you are, bringing them in, getting them to understand, oh, this is interesting. I want to know a little bit more. Now, this is going to be a lot of those acquisition channels. So it might be your PPC campaigns, it might be your social media campaigns that are going out, those external marketing channels that are pulling people into your brand. It could be print, it could be TV ads, it could be any of those things. You're reaching that new audience. Now, when it comes to email marketing, what we're looking for here is once we get them into going, interesting. What's that brand over there? So here what we want to do is when they come onto the website, get them to say, oh, okay, maybe I'm not ready to buy yet, but yes, I'm going to sign up to emails. Yes, I'm going to sign up to get more information, to get a discount, whatever that might be, depending on your business. And here, what we want to start thinking about in the content that you're putting out in your acquisition marketing channels, but also as you start to go into that relationship through your sign up form and initial marketing emails, create that content that inspires them, reduces fears, captures their attention, and introduces your brand. So it's that very first starting point of pulling them in. Now, once they're in, and particularly once they're signed up to your emails, we then go into consideration in the middle there in pink. So what do they need to know to make a choice, to make a purchase or convert, whatever that might be for you, whatever that terminology is? What is it that they need to know or do or think or feel or experience to get them over the line that they're then going to make a purchase? Now, of course, with B2B and B2C, this is often where the process will differ a little bit. B2B is often a much longer process. Perhaps there's a lot more people involved, different areas of the business that might need to get involved and have sign off on something. Perhaps you need to have in-person meetings with your sales teams. Perhaps you're a SaaS software and you don't need all of that and someone can register for a demo and then sign up. So for B2B, even within that, of course, you're going to have different life cycles. The same for B2C. Somebody buying a holiday or a bike is very different from someone buying a pair of socks or a bar of chocolate from you. So your consideration timeframes are going to be different depending on what that kind of business life cycle is, what that kind of customer life cycle is to come into your business and make a purchase. So a great way to have a look at this is to have a look at your data and do some analysis and see what is that average time in which from somebody signing up to your emails to making the first purchase, what is that average time period? And of course, one of the KPIs we could put in place here is to reduce that time period, to increase average order value, to whatever that might be for your business. But here, it really is, what do they need to think, feel, know, experience in order to make that decision that, yes, you are the right brand for me. This is the right product for me. This is the right service for me, whatever that is. I want to go through and then make that purchase or convert. So it's our job to understand our audience, to break them down. And within this, you're going to have different segments, different marketing personas that you're targeting, different types of people within your audience. And what they need to know, think, feel, experience will be slightly different from segment 1 to segment 2 to segment 3, and whatever that might be. And this is where your full power starts to come into play with email. So as we do our job fantastically and we get them from consideration over to purchase and experience or conversion and experience, the key word that I really want you to take on board here is experience. Now, whether or not that purchase is physically putting money down with you, perhaps it's signing up for an event that's your conversion point, perhaps it's registering for a demo, perhaps it's speaking to your sales team, whatever that conversion point is for you, we need to think not just about the conversion, but the experience that comes with that. So I'll use B2C as an example. Let's say that you are a shoe retailer selling shoes. Somebody's bought a pair of shoes from you. You'll send them their order confirmation email. Perhaps you'll send them your item has shipped, and then maybe you'll send them a survey afterwards that says, how did you find it? That's a pretty standard kind of purchase series that might end up going out to somebody. where's the experience? Where's the, oh, that's really helpful. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, yes. Oh, I'm so glad they told me that. These are the reactions that you really want to be getting from your customers at this stage. Speak to your customer services team, speak to your sales teams. What are those questions that once somebody has converted or bought, what are those key questions that they're coming back with that you can help with and allay at this stage of the customer life cycle? I've got lots of examples for you as we go through. But really understand your audience, understand what they've bought, and understand how you can help them. Because if you can help them here and make that experience with your brand as amazing as possible, you're going to make the next stage of loyalty, advocacy, and retention a lot easier. Okay. So here we're looking at people who have bought from you or converted before, and we're now trying to encourage them to buy again. Now you can see on this diagram, we've got a little line that links consideration and loyalty in the middle there. Now that's because these two stages are very, very similar. In essence, we're trying to get somebody to buy, get somebody to convert. The difference is in consideration, they've never done that with you before, and in loyalty, they have done it with you before. And in loyalty, we can even break that down even more and say, okay, so the people who've bought from me once and they're now going into their second purchase, deal with them in this way. But somebody who's bought from me 100 times, deal with them in this way, because they need something very different from you, from the first purchase to the second purchase to the 100th purchase or conversion with you. So a lot of the emails that you send out during these times will be very similar. You might have your standard BAU messages that are going out. You might have things like your abandoned basket campaign. Now, these will generally be very, very similar, but you might have some differences. So for example, if somebody has bought from you before and you've got a series of 3 abandoned cart messages that trigger out, you might want to, if they've bought in the last 30 days, exclude them from an abandoned cart trigger altogether. Or you might want to just remove, say, the first email that triggers in that series of 3. So anybody who's bought from you in the last 30 days only gets 2 emails if they abandon their basket and not the 3. So you can start to adjust based on what you know about your audience and based on where you know they are within this customer life cycle. And then at the very end, we've got win back. So inevitably, there will be subscribers who stop opening and clicking on your emails. There will be customers who stop buying from you and don't come back and buy again within the certain time frame that you thought that they would. And we really need to be encouraging these subscribers and these customers to come back, to do something with us. Or if not, maybe we're communicating with them then on a different channel. And again, thinking about that omni-channel experience all the way through. So today we're focusing on email, but at each and every single one of these stages, you are going to have, alongside email as your foundation, you're going to have other channels that come in. Maybe you've got SMS opt-ins. And when we get to the win-back stage, SMS might become much more powerful than email for you. For example, if you've got inactive email subscribers, they might still be engaging with SMS. So we've got lots and lots of opportunities to bring that experience together and help them through this life cycle. So I've given you a top level look at each of the stages there. Now let's dig into each of them a little bit more and give you examples of the types of campaigns that you could be sending at each stage. So starting with acquisition, right at the beginning of that process. So the first thing here, of course, is to think about your sign-up forms. Think about the data that you're collecting on them. What's business critical for you to know about your audience, about your subscriber, that is going to allow you to personalize your campaigns from the first moment, the first email that you send to them? And not just with first name, but what is that business critical piece of information? So I'll give you an example. So a few years ago, I was at a baby and toddler show with my husband, and there was a very well-known baby brand that had a sign up that said, come to our stand, sign up for our emails, and you'll get a free gift. And my husband and I thought, brilliant. We would both like a free gift. So we toddled over to the stand and we diligently signed up for email. Now, I think from memory, it was just first name and email address that were asked for on that sign up form. So we got our free gift, a little mini bottle, fantastic, carried on around the show. And then when we left at the end of the day, sitting on the train on the way home, checking our emails, and we get a welcome email from this well-known baby brand that we'd signed up to. Brilliant, fantastic, tick, they're sending an immediate welcome email. Thanks for signing up at the show, brilliant. Okay, so connecting it into what I just done into real life where I just signed up, tick, brilliant. And then it was, when I opened my email, 10 tips on how to be the best mum that you can be. Brilliant. A nice little read of that on the train. It was interesting, kept me moving. It drove me back through to shop onto their website, to have a look at their products. My husband checked his email. Now, we both signed up, both got our free gift, both received the same email. 10 tips on how to be the best mum you can be. So for this company, if they had have just asked for one more piece of business critical data on that sign up form, are you mum, dad, grandparent, auntie, uncle, carer, whatever those options might be, if they had have just asked that, they could have tailored that content, that information, and made it highly relevant to me from the word go, from that very first email. So think about, what is your business critical piece of information? What do you need to know about your audience in order to start tailoring your content immediately? So that's the first thing to think about, is your sign up process. So if we're thinking about prioritization of what to look at in each of these stages, sign up process number one to start with. And then, of course, you go through to the initial email that is sent out. So the welcome email here in this case. Now, what we want to do, and I have seen this from a lot of brands, is we do not want to just leave them in the email. So how many of you have seen welcome emails from brands that just say, hey, thanks for signing up, see you later? Silence. And then you start getting loads of their normal sales emails. And we're just getting bombarded by these messages, but we've had no relationship building. We've had no onboarding. We don't really necessarily know, what do they offer? Is this something that's interesting for us? So we really need to start from that very first email and help them. Reinforce those benefits of subscribing. Reinforce, what do you do next? And you can see some examples of this on the screen, whether it's, literally a checklist, like you can see in the first email from Indeed and the one in the middle from N-Co. Checklist. This is what you've done so far. This is what you still need to do. So this is great for B2B businesses, particularly software, or you need them to do something with an account and continue on to set that up, for example. The one on the right-hand side is from a company called Made In. So these are retailers. So what they've got is, here's 3 core benefits that you're now going to get being signed up to our emails. And we've got some product picks for you, just to start to tantalize you, try and bring you in, get you to start looking at what we've got available, inspire you. So a really great example there from Made In of really thinking about their audience. Now, again, business critical data collected on sign up could then change what these key points are, or change what those products are that are initially recommended. And with this welcome, what we want to do is, we don't just want to leave it at one welcome email. So what I would suggest that you do is that you don't put your subscribers into your standard BAU campaigns until you've done a welcome onboarding series. So new subscribers coming in, they don't know your brand. They haven't bought from you before. They don't know about you. We need to welcome them, extend that welcome, and show them all of the cool areas of your website, how they can get the most out of the features that you've got. Perhaps you've got an app, perhaps you want to get them to connect with you on social media. Inspire them as to the products or the service availability that you have. You can see these fantastic examples here from eBay doing exactly that. So they take you through and are very, very obvious with that bar at the top of the screen. If I turn on my laser pointer, here we go. Now I've lost my mouse, it's on the wrong screen. Here we go. So here it is. You can see at the top of each and every single one of these emails, they have a little bar that tells you where you are in the series. And each email has a different core focus to it, taking you through what do you need to know, what's beneficial for you, what else can you do with eBay in this instance, how do you sell, how do you buy, how do we connect to you through apps on social media. So lots of different pieces of content to help the audience to break it down. Now, effectively, you could put this all in one email, right? That would be a really long email. Probably get clipped by Gmail as well. So we're breaking it down. We're taking them step by step. We're hand holding. We're helping. Now, with all of these emails, don't forget that every single time somebody clicks on something, so let's say this middle example here from eBay, got electronics, fashion, home and garden, and motors. Now, if a subscriber clicks on 1, 2, 3, or 4 of those, that's giving you potentially some interest information. Oh, they're interested in motors. Okay, so now we could dynamically change the content in the next email potentially to be a little bit more focused on that, or have the primary focus on motors and the secondary focus on bringing in some of those other categories to inspire them. So we can start to tailor the content then. This is where it gets really, really clever with what you can do. Now, bringing in even just this type of welcome series can be so beneficial for your business. And eFocus Marketing recently worked with a company called LeaseLoco, who are a car and van leasing comparison site. So they have people coming onto their website, looking at different car leasing options, sign up to get more information, to be notified of changes in prices, specific types of cars that they're interested in, for example. Then they would go on to inquire about leasing. So that's the conversion for this business. Now, with a really small team, limited email marketing resources, we all know what that's like, they were really looking for support in planning new automated campaigns around the customer life cycle. And we started at that very first point, coming from acquisition into consideration. How do we get these new signups to understand what LeaseLoco offer and drive them through to make that conversion, that inquiry on a car, on a lease deal, on a van that they would like to know more about or to get? So initially, new subscribers were placed straight into LeaseLoco's normal regular sends, which didn't go out that often. Was straight into just kind of sales information and really resulted in a much lower than desired inquiry rate from those new prospects. The relationship wasn't being built, they weren't being driven through to their action, they were just being kind of left to it. So what we did was we changed this completely. So instead of just going straight into the standard marketing messages that were going out, we created a personalized welcome series for them. Now, what we did here was we used business critical information at the point of sign up as to whether somebody had leased a car or not before, whether it was yes or no. We felt that that was the business critical piece of information to change the content in the email. If they've leased before, we don't want to give them, oh, here are the benefits of leasing. Here is why you should do leasing. Okay, if they've done it before, they probably already know that. What we need to do is we need to get them into the nitty-gritty of how is LeaseLoco going to help you find the best deal for your lease? What are the different resources that we can help you with? Where can I look to find where that information is? Where can I find those car deals on the website? And if they'd said no, they haven't leased before, then we can go into that strategy of understanding leasing. What are the benefits? How can we help you with it? It's a different way to communicate with that audience. So depending on the information you know about your audience, really think about tailoring that content. How can you make it as relevant and interesting and valuable as possible? Because just by doing this and thinking about that business critical data, thinking about what can we provide for this audience or this part of the audience that's going to really help them, LeaseLoco saw a massive amount of results, an increase of 400% in terms of their total inquiries coming through. So the email channel generated 10% of their total inquiries. compared to 2% just a few months before that. So massive 400% increase in those inquiries coming through, massive lift for the business. And since that welcome series has been implemented, it has generated 11.9% of all marketing email inquiries. So again, it's really going great guns for them. And as they drive more subscribers and more people through that flow, we know we've got a good baseline here that we can tweak and test and optimize, but we know it's going to be driving those inquiries. So those emails not only generated those end results, actual inquiries, people wanting to take out those car leases and money on the table. But if we just kind of take it back a step in terms of the email engagement, again, that welcome series is their best performing campaign that they have running at the moment. It sends the right message to the right person at the right time. On the right-hand side of the screen there, you can see some of the average statistics and the best performing email in that welcome series as well, as comparison to all of their other emails that they send out. So a massive, massive, massive increase in those results and in those inquiries. So if you do nothing else, it is worth optimizing your welcome series. Go beyond just one welcome. Think about who are your audience. Because what we want to do is be driving them through from acquisition. They've signed up to your emails, starting to get to know you. They're considering whether they should buy from you or not. So once that welcome series has stopped, we want to encourage and engage. So if they haven't bought or converted by the end of the welcome series, which depending on your business, they may or may not, then we need to think about those BAU emails that we're sending to them and how we can make them as personalized and awesome for your audience as possible. So you can see an example on your screen from JustFab, where when somebody signs up for their email list, you're going to receive an offer for 75% off your first item. Now here we can see an example of an individual soulless email that is focused on that offer. Whereas that's not the only way you have to do it, or that you have the option to do it. You could also use a dynamic content bar, as you can see at the top here. So in one of their standard sales messages that's going out perhaps to a majority of their audience at another time, this dynamic bar would only show if you're still in that consideration stage of your journey. If you're in the loyalty stage and you've already bought before, that's going to show a different offer or remove altogether. So we can use dynamic content to bring in little changes, or we can use whole emails to try and drive through to that point of conversion. Now here, what we're looking at in terms of our priority campaigns is we're trying to look at that closest point to conversion and how do we knock people over the line. So your closest point to conversion during the consideration stage is going to be if somebody abandons their cart, their basket, or a form. So if you're B2B and you're asking somebody to fill in a form for a demo or just fill in a form on your website, that would be the closest point to potential conversion that you then want to work on and target first and foremost. Then you've got your abandon browse emails. So this is people going onto your website, having a look around, and then not going on to make a conversion. So you can follow up that action using tracking from your email service provider, from Spotler, to bring that information together to say, okay, we know that this subscriber has gone to this page, this page, this page. They've looked at this product, or this service, or this service. So how can you help them? How can you tailor that content within the abandoned cart or form emails and the abandoned browse emails to help them move forward to that next stage? We really want to be giving that inspiration, that encouragement, that help. And it's not just necessarily, we've saved your basket, come back. How can you help them? How can you take it to that next stage? How can you offer them other alternative options that they might not have considered yet? How can you, like we can see in this right-hand side in the example here from LNER, how can you convince them that you're the right brand to use for this journey in this case, or for this purchase? Now this comes down to understanding your audience, because I can give you a million different examples of types of emails that you can send out at this stage, but you've got to understand your audience and your key segments or your marketing personas at that higher level. Who are you targeting? What do they need? Based on that business critical piece of information, how can you best help them? Now, I've got a great example here of a Spotler case study from Eye Care Health. Now, they really wanted to create automations for their B2B business in this case that leveraged existing marketing collateral, saved time and effort, and automated that journey. So they said themselves that we wanted to make sure what we were building integrated seamlessly with our sales process and didn't cause us extra work in the marketing department. Well, we all want that, right? And automation can absolutely help you to do it, whatever stage of the journey they're at. So what Eye Care Health did was to really understand their audience, and they segmented them based on the sectors and areas of interest. And then relevant notifications, communications were sent out to them based on that information and connected into their account manager, as it was a B2B business, connected to their account manager when key actions were taken in response to those communications. So that account manager could then jump in with the, oh, I noticed that you did this. Do you need some help with it? Or, oh, noticed you're interested in this piece of information. We've got a great webinar coming up next week that you'd really love. Now, what they said here was, it's all about providing our customers with opportunities. We send them useful, relevant content that tells our story and helps the customer decide on the solutions which are most appropriate for them. So again, it's about your subscriber. What do they need? What do they want? When do they need it? And this is where the power of automation comes into play. So purchase and experience, this really is about going above and beyond at that conversion point. And I'd really kind of encourage you to think about that experience phrase as the main one. How can you help them? So you can see an example of 3 emails here from Indeed. So again, somebody signs up, somebody does the conversion with Indeed, and then they're following them up. This is what you need to do next. This is how you can help. Here's tips and tricks for you. Now, this is obviously a B2B example, but if it was B2C, it would be how to find the perfect style top for you. Whatever it might be, give them inspiration. What do your audience struggle with? How can you help them with that? So again, it comes down to that content, understanding your audience and who you're sending it to. Thinking about how can you help them with the product that they've just bought, for example? So you can see here in the middle from Dossier, we've got tips on how to get the most out of your perfume. That's really handy if you've just been delivered a bottle of very expensive perfume and you want to get the most from it. That's helpful. Here, we've got a great example of your order is on the way, but what they do is they kind of go on to extend that to give you more information, invite you to the community, invite you in to that business to further build the relationship. And I absolutely love this one on the right-hand side. Literally, what do you need to do to unbox it? 1, 2, 3. Works really, really well. Some really cool content there. Helpful, valuable, relevant, interesting. And you can see popped up on the left-hand side there, against a little bit of an older example. It's quite hard to find examples of these actually. But if you can, create a video. Show them how to use it. I remember seeing an example once of a company who did ski boots. And one of the biggest problems that they had with that product was that people would phone customer services afterwards and say, they don't fit. I don't know how to make them fit. Oh, I think I've ordered the wrong size. So it was all around fitting and not being sure on that process. So first off, in consideration, that gives us a whole load of content that we can help our customers with. And then post-purchase, giving them a video of how to properly fit those ski boots, what to do, how to adjust them. All of those elements would really help and reduce that load on the customer services team while making it a much better experience for your customers there. So think, what are those key things that they need help with? Because if we can help them now, we're going to drive them through to more loyalty. And again, loyalty, very similar to consideration. We're trying to drive people through to a purchase, but we've probably got some more data here. So in terms of priority campaigns, I would do some analysis and have a look, is there a drop-off? And there usually is, but is there a drop-off between first and second purchase that you need to address specifically? So again, that's really going to help you to target in on one area of loyalty where you can implement a campaign and start to drive further engagement and conversions as well. If you've got a loyalty program, the other priority campaign here would be to put that in place to make sure that they understand that loyalty program, what's involved, how they use it, the benefits to them, because that's a major point, a major selling point for a lot of people to be buying from brands nowadays, is that care and attention that they get from those loyalty programs, which all comes from data. Of course. I remember when M&S Sparks launched in the UK, and I was doing some work with them at the time. And it's all about the data. It's all about understanding what their customers are buying in store, being able to link that back to their records and creating much more of an omni-channel journey. And of course, your customers get those rewards as well. So whether it's just one of your standard BAU campaigns, showing them that good inspiration of products that you've got in at the moment, of different articles to help them and inspire them through, absolutely perfect. Those types of campaigns are going to go out. But in terms of automation, you can also drive that through to perhaps it's anniversary of their first purchase, perhaps it's their birthday. Perhaps it's driving them to encourage them to use their loyalty scheme to grow more points within their balance, and what those benefits are, what they can spend them on afterwards. But you can also use that data really cleverly to deliver their information back to them. It's almost gamification of that process. You can see some great examples on the screen there. So really understand your audience, understand what you know about them and how you can use that to best suit the content to them. And again, for win back, breaking it down into 2 key areas of your subscriber reactivation. So they haven't opened or clicked on your emails within 6 months, within 12 months. You want to get them re-engaging. Don't forget that other marketing channels, particularly in this stage, work really, really well. SMS, retargeting with Facebook ads can work too. But you're trying to get them to engage with those emails again. Whereas on the other side of the win back coin, you've got your customers who haven't bought from you again within X amount of time. And again, getting them to come back and buy from you. So you need to say, what can you do to stand out there? Do something very different from your normal strategy. So those are the 5 stages, and I've just got a few more kind of examples here for you of lots of different campaigns that you could potentially put in at each of these different stages of the life cycle. And don't forget, it's about layering those other channels in as well, creating that omni-channel approach, because your customers don't care whether you're in the email marketing department or the social media. They want that continuous story and voice talking to them. So just to leave you with a final little roundup here, if you were to ask me what are the 3 key automated campaigns, I've actually added a bonus 4th one here and not changed the title. What I would say is, in terms of setup, if you've got nothing in place, or if you've got lots in place but you want to start to really optimize and add to that, start at the closest point to conversion, because that's where chances are you're going to make the most money from it. And then you can work your way backwards from there. So abandoned basket, abandoned cart, abandoned form campaigns, getting that welcome lead nurture series going. Yes, that's right back at the other end of the funnel. But what we're thinking about here is new subscribers. How do we increase the number of people then going through to conversion? And then jumping back to that post-purchase conversion follow-up, your experience point, because this is going to make loyalty much, much easier. And when you come to drive that 1st to 2nd conversion, that 1st to 2nd purchase follow-up, if you've done number 3, number 4 is going to start to get a lot easier. So hopefully that has inspired you this morning to start looking at the data you've got about your subscribers, to start thinking about the type of content that is most relevant and valuable and interesting and helpful to them, and how you can start to deliver the right message to the right person at the right time around that life cycle. Got a few resources for you. Please do feel free to jump over to our website. We've got lots of free guides, webinar recordings, podcast episodes over there for you, or reach out to us directly or connect with me on LinkedIn. Rich, that's the end from me and the inspiration for this morning. Have we had any questions come in?
We have, yes. Let me just take back
Fabulous.
control quickly so we can come on. Just one question so far, but it's a good one, so hopefully we can spend a bit of time on it from Devon. So information is excellent. However, how can you apply automations to an industry where there's a very small time frame? For example, we're a law firm, therefore our customer journey is a few days rather than weeks or months. Any advice that can apply to our industry with very short customer journeys?
Absolutely. What is that key information that they need to know within those few days? What is it between that first action that they've taken and the end of those few days and whatever that final action is? What do they need to know? You've still got time to be sending out, a good couple of emails within a few days. You could potentially send them an SMS as a reminder. So if it's an event, for example, that they've signed up for, absolutely. As soon as they sign up, you've got the confirmation of the event. You've got, here's what you need to remember for it, or here's what you need to prep for it. So just really think for your audience within that time frame, doesn't matter if it's 6 months or 6 hours, what is it that they need to know during that time? And that's what I would suggest that you do with it. Whether it's 1 email or 100 emails, do what you can within that period.
Great. Okay, Devon, hopefully that's answered yours. Then we've had one in from Joe. Any advice or best practice for abandoned form journeys? We're a very large B2B organization, so maximizing lead form submissions is our main priority.
Yeah, really, really important. And I would say very similar to abandoned basket or abandoned cart. And I would say to all of you B2B businesses out there, take inspiration from B2C and then just adapt it for you. So of course, what you're doing here is somebody's starting to fill in a form. Hopefully you've got an email opt-in at the beginning so that you can then follow up and say, hey, did you get stuck? Or we've saved your form for you, come back and fill it in. Do you need some help? So what you need to think about is, same with abandoned basket, not just repeating it, we've saved your form, we've saved your basket, come back, that's not helping past the first email. What do they need to help them? What has stopped them potentially from going on and completing that form? What's that barrier? So really, again, understand your audience, whether you're B2B or B2C, understand what's stopping them getting to that conversion point and create that content that will help them to then get there or inspire them to perhaps take a slightly different turn and come back around to convert in a different way. But think about your audience.
Okay, coming in thick and fast again. Now we'll get through as much as we can. Matilda's question: what's your advice for the charity sector to more effectively offboard supporters from one charity product from another to another? I.e., thanks for donating to our marathon or adopting one of our pets, to converting to another donation or another product conversion.
Oh, good question. Okay, so I think, again, same with any business, you can use this data. So you can use your behavioral data. What are they looking at on the website? What emails are they opening? What links are they clicking on? You can take that as interest data. So if you see that somebody has signed up for a marathon, for example, versus somebody who hasn't and has never engaged with anything to do with a marathon, you can start to tailor that content depending on that behavior that you see. And if you start to see, oh, they've gone onto a page on the website and they have looked at a marathon page, maybe you want to start bringing in a little bit of secondary content in there just to kind of highlight that. So use it as behavioral data, use dynamic content, but the same with everything of all of this is understand your audience, understand who those key groups are and what that business critical piece of data is that you need to break them up by in order to talk to them in the right way.
Great. Okay, and then next one is from Maria. Which automations would you focus on if your customers are only likely to buy 1 or 2 items, for example, office furniture? There's only so many items of this type you're ever going to need.
Good question. Okay, what would I focus on? So I would assume from that then that you are probably doing a lot more acquisition marketing than you are in terms of retention marketing, just from the way that question is phrased. So I would say really focus on those first stages. So focus on your acquisition, how your sign up form is, testing your sign up form, making sure you're optimizing those conversions. And then in terms of automated campaigns, that welcome and onboarding is going to be really, really critical for you. So I do welcome onboarding. I would do abandoned browse, abandoned basket. Those are the three that I would start with in terms of kind of office furniture. But then I would have a look, kind of extending it to that retention stage. Okay, somebody's only going to buy a chair once every 5 years, maybe, or, you know, but bigger businesses, they might have more of a turnover. But is there anything else within your business that you can then drive them on to next? What is that next purchase? What is that next product? So I would still keep in touch. I would still be looking at that interest data. So browse behavior coming in, triggering off that browse abandon. If you see them coming through browsing, try and get them to come back in again. So those are the ones I'd focus on to start with from that question.
All right. That looks like all the questions we've had so far. So I think we can start. Yeah, they're really good. I enjoyed them because there's clearly a lot of different sectors on here, which is exactly what we wanted. Lots of different ways we can, and maybe all borrow from each other. If you're not in the charity sector, if you thought about charities, do it.
Yeah, definitely. Do you know what? I think at the end of the day, we're all communicating with people. That's what we need to remember, whether we're B2B, B2C, charity, honestly, it doesn't matter, because what I would recommend for one B2C company versus another would be completely different, even if they were both selling shoes. You know, you've got different audiences, but these are people that you're communicating with. So really go back to your data, understand who they are and what they need, and that's going to help you get much better with that, delivering the really valuable, interesting, relevant content within the automations. And that gives you right message, right person, right time, the trifecta.
There we go. So neat. Love that. I love how you pull that back around. Okay,
I'll
start sign off. And it's 3 minutes to 11, so we filled the time almost to the minute, which is lovely. So everyone, thanks for joining. We're going in a completely different direction. Next Wednesday is our next webinar. Publish everywhere, listen to everyone. This is social. We moved on from email onto the social end of the platform. If you're one of our customers, you'll know that our social platform has undergone some pretty major changes. So we're rolling out how all that's going to work. It'd be great to see you there. 28th of June. It's on our website at spotleruk.co.uk/. Thank you for attending once again. And if you like the sound of Kate's voice and mine a little bit, we're going to work on that, fans. And we're actually about to launch, or soon to be launching, a new podcast. It's going to be more email content. We're going to try and expand it beyond that. So how you email will that out as you go. If you're already subscribed to that marketing podcast, which is Spotless One, or eTelligence, which is Kate's excellent high quality podcast that's already been out there for some time now, we'll definitely be dropping at least the first episode into both of those streams when it goes live. I'm sure both Kate and myself will do a whole range of email, social, all that good stuff, promotion. We'll probably automate some of the promotion to, if you've listened to this episode, you might also like this. You never know. So that is one to watch out for coming up. And as Kate said, get in touch with either of us if you want a demo of more of the products, whether you've come from Kate and discovering Spotler or from Spotler discovering Kate. There's all sorts of ways we can work together to get you doing all this stuff that we've talked about. So yes, get in touch. So I will let you go at precisely 11 o'clock. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and hopefully we'll speak to you again very soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.